Are we recording? Yes, we are, apparently. At least we are on the right-hand channel. Yeah, this is recording stereophonically, but since both microphones are right next to one another, it's academic. This side of the tape, and possibly both sides, takes its name from our first selection, which is, as you read on your label, Corny Rhythm. Not everything on the tape comes under that heading exactly, but that's what this one is called, so we'll go with that. This is Mary Lou Williams on the Columbia label, Super Swing Music number 37, Corny Rhythm, written by Mary Lou Williams. I remember in the old days at the club they used to play records that they would say were bad, and everybody would laugh, and usually traditional jazz of one kind or another, and I would sit there and I would very often wonder what they were talking about, because to me the record sounded equally good or bad or whatever it was, regardless of how they were received. I seem to recall that Red Nichols came in for a lot of criticism and a good deal of poking fun at and so on. But I finally found a record that I think I can unequivocally put forward as a bad record. This is one of the worst records of its type I've ever heard. Bunk Johnson was another that they used to make fun of, because they were old men and they'd not got much technique. I could understand why those were bad, or if indeed they were bad, but this next one I think really is pretty awful. See what you think. It's Royal Garden Blues, and I'll announce the artist after it's finished. Actually, it's not that bad, is it? I mean, it's listenable, and one mustn't be too superior about these things. That was a French group under the leadership of Claude Lutter, or Lutter I suppose it should be. Clarinet, Claude Lutter. Cornets, Pierre Merlin and Claude Rabani. Trumpet, Mowgli Jospin. That's Mowgli as in the Rudyard Kipling Jungle Book character. The piano is Christian Azzi, the banjo is Claude Philippe, and the drummer, who I think was one of the main culprits there, was Michel Bacou. Enough of that. Enough of that. I think this next one could, if you're going to be particularly narrow-minded about it, not you personally, but if one is to be narrow-minded, I think you could say it was corny, but I like it. I like this one. This is the Gallowglass Cayley Band. I'm not sure about the spelling of Cayley on this record, but never mind, doesn't matter. And this is on Columbia. It's from the Shamrock series, recorded in Dublin. That makes it very authentic, doesn't it? And these are two reels, or one reel with two tunes. One head, two faces. But one reel with two tunes. The first tune is called The Siege of Ennis, and the second song is called The Mist on the Bog, which I think really swings. Corny, but swinging. Hope you like it. Yes, that little riff at the end there is really jumps. It's not too far from jazz in its own peculiar way. You could imagine them doing something like that with a small jazz group. This is an unusual thing. It's called, keeping in mind our theme for the evening, which is Corny rhythm. I don't know whether you call it corny or not, but it's folksy. And I've got very, very, very few folksy records. In fact, I've got a couple by the Weavers, is it? I've got Wimoway, and I've got Kisses Sweeter Than Wine. Is it the Weavers? The one with Pete Seeger in it, anyway. I've got those two on Decca. And I've got this one, which I don't think, this probably doesn't even qualify as folk music. It's called The March Hare, from a film called The March Hare. And it's written by somebody called Green, maybe Phil Green. And it's sung, or played, I forget which, by a group called the Streamliners. Let's try it. Just a little bit on the heavy side, I thought that, but it's not bad. That's on the London Jazz label. The only record I've got on the London Jazz label. And it's Humphrey Lyttelton and his band. And the title is Elizabeth. And it's written by somebody called Katcher. That's Katschher. And the lineup, as given on the label, is as follows. Lyttelton cornet, Fawkes clarinet, Christie trombone, Webb piano, Scrimshire guitar, Rawlings bass and Carey drums. It doesn't give the first name of any of those people, although everybody will recognise most of those. Probably most people would recognise all of them, but I don't know who the Carey is, and I don't know who the Rawlings is. But I think it's Humphrey Lyttelton, Wally Fawkes, Keith Christie, would it be, trombone, George Webb on piano, and Neville Scrimshire on guitar. That was a show tune with a rather good lyric about a young lady who's bothered because the new fashion for long skirts has come in and she has to cover up her legs, and she's not very happy about this. And it's I can't sing it too well. Something like, my friend Elizabeth, out of temper, out of breath, now that she has found skirts must trail upon the ground. She has a better set of legs than even Miss Danget. Now she has to hide what was once her joy and pride. This fad for overdressing, depressing, distressing. Since catching men grows harder, the ardor not so strong. Do-dee-la-dee, and so on. I've forgotten the rest of the words. Used to have a record, in fact I still have a record of that, sung by, I think it's Carl Brisson, but he's not a very good singer. I think he's a German, maybe Swiss, Austrian, whatever. But I don't much like his singing because he sort of makes up his own tune. So, enough of Elizabeth. I've lost the cover for Corny Rhythm by Mary Lou Williams. I've lost the sleeve. This next one is definitely not a corny rhythm, but it's a rather corny. Well, it is in its way. It's not meant to be. Of course, I don't suppose any of them were meant to be. But this is what happens when somebody like Frank Sinatra, not singing the George Formby songbook this time, but he's singing a song called Bim Bam Baby by Sammy Meisels, and with Axel Storell's orchestra. This is Sinatra trying desperately to swing, and almost making it